If you're anxious when you show up for a sales call, whether that's in person, on phone, or on Zoom, I have some great tips I'd love to share with you in this video. Hey, it's Tom Jacobs here. Thanks for stopping by the channel. I love dropping little sales tidbits to help the solopreneur, solo practitioner, and especially those heart-centered salespeople improve sales, make better connections, and sell with integrity. So let's dive right into today's topic, reducing that anxiety on sales calls. Whoever thought that sales anxiety is a thing? And it really is, especially for new heart-centered salespeople. Those are those empathetic folks that are typically in the health and wellness field, that when they hear that word sales or sales call, it starts to build up this pressure inside of them that it almost becomes a challenge to actually do that sales conversation. And believe it or not, your prospects can feel that anxiety, and the chances of you actually making the sale goes way down. So I'm going to be sharing with you some very practical things that you need to be doing to make sure that you reduce that sales anxiety and you come across calm, cool, and collected on that next sales conversation. The first step to reducing sales anxiety is preparation. And really what that means is understanding exactly what your call flow is. Call it a call flow, call it a call script, whichever, but understanding exactly what it is that you're going to be asking during that sales conversation, and then practicing it over and over and over again with a friend or a colleague, and making sure that you are solid in that presentation of your questions, your mirroring back, your presentation, and ultimately the ask as well. And once you've mastered that with practice, when you go into a sales conversation, it's going to be almost like muscle memory takes over, and you're going to be calm, cool, and collected on that sales call, and most likely you're going to make that sale. So now that you've practiced that sales conversation, you have that call flow memorizing. Now, another way of reducing that anxiety is really with shifting your mindset on what is a sales conversation. And a lot of heart-centered salespeople really fear that whole word sales. And if you shift your mind to kind of reprogram that, instead of it's a sales conversation, it's really a problem-solving session. And your goal is to help that prospect realize, one, they have a problem, and two, that you have the solution to solve their problem. And when you really approach the conversation that way, it's going to reduce your anxiety, like, oh, I have to make the sale, versus I really want to help this person solve their problem, and I know in my heart, the only way that they can solve that problem is when they buy my program. Another way of reducing that sales anxiety, especially for that heart-centered salesperson who's really nervous about making that sale and having that sales conversation, is thinking about what that other person is going through. What is the problem that they are facing? And really bring in that empathetic feeling from within, where now you are putting yourself in the place of that prospect, understanding that they have a problem that needs to be solved, and that you have the unique ability to solve that problem. Once you become very empathetic, and most heart-centered salespeople are empaths anyway, so this shouldn't be very difficult to do, but once you've realized that, boy, this person really does have a problem, I have the solution to help them, it's going to reduce your anxiety, and you're going to come to that sales conversation from a place of caring and love, and you're going to absolutely make that sale. You know how so many people talk about their morning routine and how that sets the day up for success and gets you going? Well, there should be also a pre-sales call routine that every salesperson goes through. And this does a couple things. One, it resets your brain. Imagine you just had a really bad call with somebody and it just really threw you off. You didn't make the sale and you're like, oh, I can't believe this. Well, you have another sale to do. And if you bring that energy over into the next sales call, you're probably going to bomb on that one as well. So having that pre-sales call routine, whether that is deep breathing, meditation, standing up, doing jumping jacks, or something to get you ready and clear that mind, that's going to get you ready for that next sales call, reduce that sales anxiety, and have you fresh and able to help the next person. Tell you what, when I first started in sales at my fitness center, I was nervous every single time that I had a sales conversation, and because of that, I only had like a 10% close rate. Once I really perfected that sales conversation, understood exactly what I was trying to get out of it, the questions to ask, the feeling that I wanted that prospect to have from the questions that I asked, and ultimately leading towards the sale, once I understood that whole process and I had practiced and practiced and practiced, Well, my sales shot way up. I went to 90% close rate and helping a ton of people because I was much more confident and my anxiety was reduced quite a bit. So when I rolled into a sales consultation, I was ready to go. I was super confident that I could help that person and I wasn't anxious anymore. Now, if you're thinking that, oh my gosh, am I the only one that gets anxiety when getting ready to make a sales call? You're not the only one. Many, many people have that anxiety, myself included, and there are certain things that can be done to make sure that you've reduced that anxiety. And number one is working with a sales coach, somebody that can keep you grounded and make sure that you are staying consistent with your sales calls and practicing and making sure that you do everything right. It keeps that anxiety at a low level and allows you to perform at a very high level and ultimately make more sales. So if you're not working with a sales coach right now, I highly recommend that you work with a sales coach or a mentor, somebody to keep you accountable to doing the work necessary to reduce that anxiety. One of the best ways of reducing anxiety on sales calls is having sales scripting, and I've got a great resource for you, some sales scripts and how to create those sales scripts. So make sure you click on that link down below and grab that resource right now. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate a heart.